Hey guys, Toast here. Welcome to another episode of Custom Kit. This is a series where you get to select every facet of a custom kit, including primary weapon, secondary, grenades, gadgets, and melee, and I'll discuss the different components, my preconceptions prior to using the kit, and then my experiences after having used it. My apologies for taking so long between custom kit videos, but now I should be back to doing them every couple weeks. Today's custom kit is courtesy of Outdated Moon, who submitted the Back to the Beginning kit. Outdated Moon wrote, "Back to the beginning. Primary weapon MP18 Trench, secondary weapon M1911, Gadget 1 AT Rocket Gun, Gadget 2 AT Grenades, Grenade Frag, Melee Weapon Combat Knife. You're a new soldier entering the war and you only chose what other soldiers recommended. The MP18 Trench is best used when hip firing. The M1911 is nice and balanced. Use your anti-tank equipment to take down those tanks. Enjoy." I really like this kit because it takes us back to the beginning of the game that many of us experienced only about 9 months ago. Since we're now at a point where you see Hellregals, Automaticos, and Shotguns everywhere with the Assault class, I like that we're going back to the MP18 Trench where the class gets its start. As always, let's first discuss each of the different components of the kit and how each one influenced my tactics going into this, beginning with the MP18 Trench variant. The MP18 Trench is a really well-rounded weapon which trades straight-up DPS output for more mid-range viability and great hipfire. With a comparatively low rate of fire for SMGs at only 550 rounds per minute, you're not going to be dominating other assaults at close range, but you will be able to outshoot quite a few of them at medium range. Being a trench variant, the hipfire is going to be markedly better than other weapons available, but the particularly nice thing about the hipfire for the MP18 Trench is that it actually allows you to accurately hipfire medium-range targets, and the high muzzle velocity for an SMG allows you to lead targets less than with other SMGs except for the ribby roll. The only other weapon that matches the hipfire accuracy of the MP18 Trench is the Automatico M1918 Trench, which has a lower muzzle velocity, a lower minimum damage, a faster damage drop-off, and a smaller magazine. Obviously, the Automatico is a beast when it comes to pure close-range DPS, but when it comes to mid-range hipfire ability, I prefer the MP18 Trench personally. The MP18 also has the second largest magazine size for an SMG, which is a nice little bonus. Given all of this, I wanted to try and engage mid-range targets when possible, or other classes at close range, but I wanted to try to avoid other assaults at close range since I'd be at a disadvantage against most of them with the other weapons. As for the M1911, the standard issue secondary for all classes is one of my favorites. Its high maximum damage of 35 compounded with its still high rate of fire of 299 rounds per minute means that it can be an absolute lifesaver if you happen to run out of ammo in your primary at close range. That said, it does have a very low muzzle velocity and a fairly high recoil among the fast-firing secondaries, which means it's going to be more difficult to land longer range shots. Since the MP18 has 32 rounds available before needing to reload, I wasn't anticipating needing to swap to the M1911 unless I completely ran out of ammo. Moving on to gadgets, the Assault class is obviously the anti-vehicle class, and the AT Rocket Gun and AT Grenades are probably what I would personally consider to be my two favorite gadgets for the class. The AT Rocket Gun is great to safely deal damage to tanks, and the AT Grenades are great for dealing a bit more close-range damage, and also having some secondary anti-infantry grenades available, albeit with a smaller blast radius than the frag grenades. I planned on using both liberally to take on those pesky enemy tanks. All told, I was really excited to get back to the basics and focus on what the Assault class was designed to do from the ground up. Now that's what I had anticipated based on the components of the kit, but how did it end up playing out? Overall, I loved using this kit. Despite being a starting weapon, the MP18 Trench is a formidable weapon in the right hands. When I was able to get off good flanks, I found myself able to clear groups of enemies with relative ease, and the great mid-range hipfire abilities were even more pronounced than I had remembered since I don't use the weapon all that often. I managed to secure some kills while hipfiring that would have been mere pipe dreams with other weapons or classes. That said, at very close range, I did find myself losing some battles to other assaults as I had anticipated. When I did end up aiming down sight, I was glad that I was using the Trench variant because I actually prefer the iron sight on the Trench variant opposed to the optical sight on both the optical and experimental variants. Based on my experience with the weapon, I think I'll start actually incorporating it more into my loadouts moving forward. The M1911 was great as always when I needed it, but that said, despite the M1911's higher damage, I found myself actually missing the one extra bullet I would have had with either the P08 or the C93, both of which I've been using a lot more recently. For me personally, taking down an enemy vehicle provides a ton of satisfaction, so the combination of the AT Rocket Gun and AT Grenades suited me wonderfully. The beauty of the AT rocket gun is that in addition to being a somewhat safe means of dealing damage to tanks, it's also a great way to take out infantry who are outside of the ideal range of your weapons. I tend to not use it all that often for that purpose normally, but while using this kit I decided to do it a bit more often, and I have to say it was really satisfying. AT rocket grenades, which on the other hand many people use for additional infantry grenades, I tried to hold onto specifically for vehicles. I personally found them more valuable as anti-tank than anti-infantry, so I tried not to waste them on securing 1 or 2 infantry kills, which ultimately ended up working out in my favor to destroy vehicles. All in all, I had a really fun time using this kit, and would definitely recommend each of you to go back to the beginning sometime and try it out. Thanks again to Outdated Moon for submitting this custom kit, and if you'd like to see one of your own custom kits featured on a future episode of the series, please leave a comment below with the details of the kit, and I'll select one for the next episode. If you've submitted one on a previous video that didn't get picked, please know that they're still in the running, but always feel free to suggest a different one as well. If you see a kit in the comments that you think is interesting, please leave a thumbs up on it. As always, if you liked the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more content, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, this is Toast, and I'll talk to you soon.